No way, Jose. Yeah, but I can take turbo. She's little, but she's fine. Huh? Well, apparently, most people are here. I got called in last minute because someone was ill that was going to do music today. So I got to pick out what to play. And apparently I'm known as the sing-along guy now. I don't know how I got that title. But if anybody knows this, it's I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, who has the wonderful band of George Harrison added, Jeff Lynne, and Mr. Ringo Starr on drums. They ain't here today. So you're stuck with me. But if you know this song and you want to sing loud, out of tune, we accept it all. Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I stand my ground, won't be turned around. And I keep this world from dragging me down, but I stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down. Well, I know what's right. I got just one fight in a world that keeps on pushing me around, but I stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Stand my ground, and I won't back down. No, I won't. Hey, baby, No, I won't back down. Thank you. You can't get rid of me. Be sure to tip your bartenders and waitresses. They're working very hard for you.
All right, good morning. My name is Annie Collins, and I serve as president of the Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spartanburg. Welcome to UUCS. We're glad you're here. At UUCS, we strive to be a beloved community of warmth, love, and support across all of our differences. This is a welcoming congregation where everyone is welcome just as we each are. If you are visiting with us this morning, we would love to meet you. Visitor cards can be found in the pocket of the back of the chair in front of you. Please feel free to fill one out and place it in the offering plate during the service so then we can better connect with you. Even though it is summer, there is still a lot going on here. You will find a monthly Connect available in the lobby and a weekly one-page executive summary in your order of service. So, thing number one, summer enrichment before the service. Throughout the summer until August 31st, we are experimenting with intergenerational enrichment time, the hour before the 11 a.m. service. The church will open Sundays at 9:30 a.m. for coffee and greetings. At 10, we will gather for centering. Then there's the option to join one of several breakout groups. Child care will be provided from 9:45 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. so that parents, children, and youth can all experience enrichment. Come and enjoy. We also have a movie night going on this Saturday, July 12th at 6:30 p.m. in Wild Hall. We will use our new copyright license and screen The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. A short discussion will follow, so please feel free to bring snacks, drinks, and suggestions for movies you'd like to see screened. This will be the first of a series, and if you would like to help plan future movie nights or have other suggestions, please contact Bernie Holiday. All right, also, protesting in an era of rising authoritarianism. Next Sunday, July 13th, following the morning service, Dr. Elizabeth Zach will offer a talk on protest in the times in which we are living. The talk will offer tools for thinking about the erosion of democracy and various forms of resistance to it, including mass protest, digital activism, litigation, and small-scale local initiatives. Dr. Elizabeth Zach is a professor of sociology and department chair at the University of South Carolina Upstate. She's earned a PhD in sociology and history at the New School for Social Research, and she teaches courses in research methods, politics, social movements, and cities. She researches several different types of political activism, including campaigns for autonomy, civil rights, and environmental protections, and she has won numerous grants, including a Fulbright to Jordan in 2006 and 2007. So that's going on next Sunday. All right, that is it. So thank you all for making this a place of kindness, a place of care, and a place of love.
Good morning. My name is Cindy Freeman, and I'll be serving as your worship associate today. We are very grateful for Charlie Johnson for offering his insights today in his meditation, Dungeons and Dragons and You. Charlie is a PhD candidate in history of religion at Princeton Theological Seminary and a longtime attender of UU congregations. But he comes here today as an ambassador for the magic of cooperative gaming, a shelter from adversity and a wellspring of inspiration. These days, you can often find him playing or teaching games with the Greenville-based gaming group, Tantrum House. So we're very happy to have him come. I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons, but it seems very interesting. I've watched Sheldon Cooper and his minions on Big Bang Theory playing that, and I always was like, oh, I want to play that game. Would everyone please give a round of applause to Charlie for offering to do this? Okay, the reading as Jennifer lights the chalice, the reading from the chalice, for the lighting of the chalice, is from Kate Welch, the designer of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, The Magic of D&D Can Save Us. Something magical happens when you give yourself permission to play pretend. Being vulnerable and creative is a big part of it. You must trust and be trusted with what feels like subjective foolishness. But when you add the elements of collective imagination and improvisation, you create a strange alchemy in the brain, tangible as the memories of real life, even though it lives solely in the minds of a select few. The first hymn is hymn number 106, Who Would Valor See? The words were written by John Bunyan, who wrote Pilgrim's Progress, and this book was about life as a spiritual journey. And Dungeons and Dragons has, a journey, so I understand you go through creating this journey that you go on. It's a difficult song to sing because it doesn't have any time limitations on it. So what I thought I would do is read the words first, so you could at least know what it's talking about, or what it's saying, because trying to read and sing it at the same time, you probably just won't get the words and the meaning of it. So it says, who would true valor see? Let them come hither. One here will constant be, come wind, come weather. There's no discouragement shall make me once relent. My first avowed intent to be a pilgrim. And a pilgrim in those days, it was written in the 1600s, was going on a pilgrimage and having a journey, usually a religious journey, as a pilgrim. Whoso beset me round with dismal stories, do but themselves confound, my strength the more is. No lion can make me fright, I will with a giant fight. But I shall have a right to be a pilgrim. No word or foe or friend can daunt my spirit. I know I at the end will life inherit. Then fancies fly away. I'll not fear what they say. I'll labor night and day to be a pilgrim. So let's rise and sing, and Max will play it once through, so we'll understand, get the melody for this. congregation has a tradition of the rippling bowl. That doesn't appear to have water in it. Well, when we come together, thank you, Virginia. When we come together, we bring all of ourselves, including our joys and celebrations, as well as our sorrows and concerns. Coming forward to place a stone or shell in the rippling bowl is a way to symbolize sharing those joys and sorrows. You are invited to come forth to the rippling bowl as you desire. I'll place a stone and shell in the bowl for those of you who are joining us virtually. And we could wait a minute, maybe listen to Ron sing. Virginia, I think she's getting some water. Okay, all right, thank you.
If you miss the train I'm on, you will know that I am gone. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles, 100 miles. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. Lord, I'm one, Lord, I'm two, Lord, I'm three, Lord, I'm four, Lord, I'm 500 miles from my home. 500 miles, 500 miles, 500 miles, 500 miles. Lord, I'm 500 miles from my home. Not a shirt on my back, not a penny to my name. Lord, I can't go back home this away, this away, this away, this away, this away. Lord, I can't go back home this away. So if you miss the train I'm on, you will know that I am gone. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles.
Beautiful, Ron. I could listen to that song 3 more times, at least. Okay. Our congregation does not have a specific creed that we all have to believe in order to belong. However, we do try to lead our lives with intention and the hope of creating a loving community. For this purpose, our congregation has created a covenant, which literally means an agreement. This we use to express our intentions within our church family and for the greater community and the world. The words of the covenant are in your order of service or below the live stream if you're joining us virtually. Please join with me. With courage we say, we are a people of faith and hope. Together we covenant to strive to become our better selves, to honor both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to respond to systems of violence and oppression with the power of a love beyond belief. So now for the fun. We've included a greeting time as an official part of our worship because building community and welcoming our neighbors is so important. We want to make sure that all who enter here feel welcome. Your level of engagement in this activity is totally up to you. We understand that all levels of participation are personal, and we totally accept your individual choice. As you are greeting others, please respect your neighbor's personal space. It's fine to remain seated if you wish, and it's okay to just wave. Then after a few minutes, Max will start playing, and that means the greeting time is over and we will return to our seats. So let's go greet our neighbors.
much. You barely gave me enough time to get all my stuff up here. Are there any children or children at heart that would like to join me for our time for all ages? Come on up, Frankie. Hello. How are you today? Good? All right. Any other children? Come on up. Yeah. Come on here. All right, let's have a seat. How are we doing today? How are you, Frankie? You doing good? Oh, good. I love that tie-dye shirt. I love some tie-dye. How are you doing? Oh, good. I've got some stuff in my bag, and when I pull it out, I want you to think, what could that be used for? Okay? All right. I have a bottle of glue. What do we use a bottle of glue for?
Arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts. Boy after my own heart, yes. What else? Sticking stuff together.
Putting it all over our hands and peeling it off.
Yes. Who loves to putting it all over our hands and then peeling it off? What could we do with that dried glue? Wonder.
Hand it off to your friends. Yeah, this is my real skin.
Ah.
And tell them it's something else.
I've got a chopstick. Just one though, just one.
Holding up a
Can be used
plant.
for noodles.
It can be used for noodles. How would we use this for noodles?
We could like scoop it and then like eat it.
Scoop it and then eat it. What else could we do with one chopstick?
Prop up our hair up.
Prop up a plant, yeah.
Hair stick. Put it in your hair.
Hair stick, oh, I like that idea.
You could break it into smaller pieces and use your glue and make a teeny tiny statue.
Ooh, so we're using our glue and our
Are we allowed
chopsticks.
to use our glue?
We are allowed to use our glue with our chopstick. I've got something else. What are these? Scissors. Yes.
Cutting paper.
Cutting paper. Do we cut other things with them?
Fabric.
Sometimes we cut fabric.
They're used for crafts.
They are used for crafts.
Don't run with them.
Don't run with them. Thank you, Stan. All right. Anyone know what this is? Floral tape. What could we do with floral tape?
Wrap it around stems.
Wrap it around to make stems. The thing about this tape is that it'll stick to itself. That's pretty cool. All right, I got one more thing. You ready? I got a magazine. What can we do with a magazine?
Rating.
We can read it, yes.
All the colors,
Oop.
all the pictures.
What else could we do? We could cut out pictures.
We could like cut out the pictures and make them with a craft.
Yeah, like a collage. We could do that.
If it has directions, we could use the directions.
Well, this is a quilting magazine, so you could use the directions to make a quilt. Decoupage, yes. Paper airplane, I love it. Origami, that's a great idea. Okay, confetti, excellent. Okay, so we have a magazine, we have a chopstick, we have some scissors, some glue, and some floral tape. What could we do with all these things? Paper mache.
We can make a craft out of all of them.
We could make a craft out of all of them. Maybe
Tiny little sign.
a tiny little sign, yes.
Paper flower.
A paper flower. You know what? I think we're missing flowers on our table today. Do you think we can do some time for all ages magic real quick? Okay, everybody close your eyes and imagine you're making a paper flower. How would you make a paper flower? Imagine it. Imagine it. All right. What were the steps that you used to make your paper flower? Anybody have any ideas?
So we could, I could curl up a paper and then I could use one of those little like fake flowers and stick it in the paper.
Okay, I like that idea. So you cut up the paper and then you curled it around a fake flower? Okay. What are some other ideas? Yeah?
I think I'm gonna cut some strips with mine and then use my floral tape to squish them together in the center like a big paper dandelion. What do you think about that?
I like that idea. That's cool.
Tape it to my stick.
Ooh, and then
And
tape
put
it to
in
your
the yard
stick.
and tell the mailman it looks like that on purpose. Thank you, Sarah.
Don't step on my flower.
Yeah.
So, you used your imagination. Everybody, close your eyes again. Stick your fingers out in the middle and wiggle them around. And say, abracadabra. Abracadabra. Movie magic. Movie magic. Here at Time for All Ages. Here at Time for All Ages. Ta-da! You can open your... Is that what you imagined?
It's even better.
Is that what you imagined, Frankie? When you thought paper flowers? Why do we have imaginations?
So we can do it in real life.
So we can do it in real life. Ooh, that's a good one. Is this what you imagined? Yeah? Awesome. And now it is here in real life, right? Yeah. But you had to imagine how to get to these steps too, right? Yeah, we had to think, okay, I could use the stick. Like you said, I could use the stick to make a stem. Okay. And I've got paper here, but we got to cut the paper. So we used our scissors to cut our paper, but how are we going to attach it? We had to think, oh, I got glue. We can use our glue.
And we got tape.
And we have tape. That's right, to make it green like a stem. So we had to use our imagination to look at these basic things and think, what could they become? What could they become? Sometimes we got to do that in real life, right? We got to use our imaginations to use what we have to make it into something else. Is that hard to do sometimes? Sometimes it can be hard. Yeah?
How do you make that so fast?
Movie magic. I made it before. Time for all ages.
I heard that.
Well, as you go about your week this week, I want you to think, how can I use my imagination and the things that I have to make the world more beautiful? Just like we had a magazine and a chopstick today, and we made a beautiful flower, we may only have a couple of cookies and our friend doesn't have any. What could we use our imagination to do?
We could give one to our friend.
We could, that's right. That's using our imagination to make the world more beautiful, right? Yeah. Well, thank you all for coming up today. Frankie, would you like to put our flour in that jar up there? All right. Thank you all for coming up. And I hope you have a beautiful, imaginative week.
Our church is blessed with members and friends who are generous with their time, talent, and treasure, all of which are necessary for running the church and to support our outreach to the surrounding community and world. We recognize that folks give their gifts electronically, so when we pass our physical offering plate in a few moments, please add your blessing, even if you aren't contributing financially at the moment. Every month, we share the plate by choosing to support a cause that is beyond our regular budget. Our Share the Plate this month goes to Midwives for Haiti. About 5 million of Haitians live rurally. Due to geographic remoteness and socioeconomic status, many mothers in Haiti do not receive the care that they require. 58% of births take place outside of health care facilities. As a result, Haiti is the most dangerous country in the Western Hemisphere to give birth, and gang violence isn't helping you. The maternal death rate in Haiti is 350 deaths per 100,000 births. That compares to 12 deaths per 100,000 births in the US. Most of these maternal deaths are caused by eclampsia, sepsis, and postpartum hemorrhage. These are deaths that can be prevented. This is a nonprofit organization that trains Haitians to become skilled attendants from rural areas and gets them to women who need them. They have achieved significant improvements by training over 180 skilled birth attendants and ensuring over 126,000 safe pregnancies and births. They also operate mobile health clinics and provide education programs, expanding their reach to more women in need. If the ushers would please come forward.
Everything will be replaced, yet every distance is not near. So I remember every face of every man who put me here. You know it, sing it. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, anyway now, I shall be released. protection. They say every man must fall. But I swear I see my reflection someplace so high above the wall. Yeah, I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. Standing next to me in this lonely crowd is a man who swears he's not to blame. And all day long I hear him cry so loud, calling out that he's been framed. Everybody singing. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Any day now, any day now, I shall be released. 'Cause I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. Well, any day now, any day now, I shall be released. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to start with a moment of silence, but as that's going on, my lovely wife Hannah is going to be passing some things out around the congregation. You're going to need to grab yourself, when she comes by, one of these little dice so you can play along. Welcome, everybody. Quick question. How many of you have played Dungeons and Dragons? Ooh, quite a few. And I see, what's that, 200 people on the live stream also raising their hands. Cool people. Very nice. Okay, how about you haven't played Dungeons of Dragons, but you've maybe seen somebody play it. And maybe you watch Stranger Things or Big Bang Theory, or you have a nerdy sibling. Okay, very nice, very nice. Today, I want to talk about how games can be just games, but sometimes they can be more than just a game. And we're going to start off on a little bit of a dour note, which is to say, how did Dungeons and Dragons, which is a game that a bunch of nerds cooked up in their kitchen table in the 70s, how did it come to be known and reach popular attention? It's not a great story. In 1979, there was a Michigan State student named James Dallas Egbert III. He went missing from his dorm room. It was a few days before his parents realized that they hadn't heard from him. No one had seen him. They called in a private investigator, William Deere, to come find their son. He gets there and realizes that no one knows where he is, but he learns two pieces of information about James. One, he sometimes played Dungeons and Dragons with his friends. Now, William Deere didn't know what Dungeons and Dragons was either, and neither did anybody else, it seems. And two, someone had seen him or reported to see him going down beneath the university into the steam tunnels, the utility tunnels that were underneath. And so William Deere, after a couple days and the press was starting to pay attention, he offered a suggestion to the press that maybe James had gotten so caught up in his game of Dungeons and Dragons that he had had some kind of mental episode, gone down into the steam tunnels to play a live action version of the game, and had become lost down there. He enlisted local forces to do a manhunt. They searched the tunnels. They didn't find James, but what did happen was it started a story. All kinds of speculations started coming around about the danger of Dungeons and Dragons and what people were doing, that they were getting lost in characters, that they were going into dangerous locations. There were all kinds of rumors that people who died in the game were pressured to kill themselves in real life. It's going to come back. You thought this was going to be just a nice little game talk. This is going deep. There is a conclusion to the James story. I need to go fast forward a bit though. A couple years later, there is a novelist named Rona Jaffe. She writes a book called Mazes and Monsters. This becomes the young Tom Hanks's, maybe one of his first starring roles in a movie that came out in 1982. It's wild. It's about a group of college students who get involved playing the game Mazes and Monsters. Wonder where they got that name from. They get so invested in it that they find an abandoned cavern out in the woods, and they get so lost in the characters that one of them has a psychotic break and starts to believe that he is his character, the cleric Pardieu. He starts acting as if everyone else are monsters or travelers or fellow companions, and the story just goes off the rails from there. Somehow he gets to New York City. He ends up killing a mugger that he thinks is a goblin. He goes to the towers that were still there, tries to jump off one of the twin towers, is barely stopped, and at the end of the movie, sorry for the spoilers, I'm so sorry, you were gonna watch this. He's safe, but he's lost forever in this fantasy, thinking his parents are innkeepers, thinking that his friends are their characters in the game. One more thing. In 1984, a fundamentalist Baptist pastor named Jack Chick, who was a kind of professional comic artist who would make all sorts of comics about things that he thought were evil, which could be rock music, Satanism, Catholics, feminism, anything. And he would write these comic stories. And in Dark Dungeons, there is I guess a middle-aged woman. I think it's hard to follow some of Jack's storylines, but a professor or something like that, playing Dungeons and Dragons with a group of college students. And one of the students dies in the game. Her character, Black Leaf, gets hit by a poisoned dart and dies, and this girl starts crying and says, no, I don't want to die. I don't want to leave. And then one of the other players at the table, another girl, Debbie, who seems to be a real hoot to be around, she's like, "You don't exist anymore. You have to leave." So Debbie is congratulated on her commitment to the game. And the dungeon master, this woman tells her that she's being invited to join a real coven of witches, and that she's going to learn to cast real magic. So they induct her into this secret coven with her character name, Elfstar. And Elfstar learns real magic. My favorite panel in the whole comic is later when the dungeon master / witch coven leader says, "Did you do any real magic?" And she says, "Yes, I used the mind control spell on my father. He wanted me to stop playing Dungeons and Dragons, but I got him to buy me $200 worth of Dungeons and Dragons figurines." So I guess, Jack Chick just couldn't figure out what to do. If you had access to real mind control magic, you're gonna play more Dungeons and Dragons with it. It's a sad story, though. The girl who got kicked out of the game ends up killing herself because she can't bear to be separated from her character that she is identified with. And this eventually leads Debbie, the witch, to renounce the evils of the occult. And she goes to talk to Pastor Mike, and Pastor Mike casts the demons of Dungeons and Dragons out of her. And she's okay. I started telling you about James. James was eventually found about a month later. We know this because the private investigator, about 5 years after the fact, wrote a book called Dungeon Master. And it was, this hyped up kind of detective noir story. In reality, James was just staying with some friends for a few weeks, and then he skipped town to Louisiana to work on an oil field. And at some point, someone was like, "Hey man, you've been on TV." So James calls the private investigator and tells him where he is. Great job, private investigating. Can't believe you got a book deal for that. The true story was, James was kind of a child prodigy. He was 16 years old. He was a sophomore in college. He was dealing with bullying and not being able to relate to the people around him. His parents put extreme pressure on him because he was so smart, he was so special, and he felt overwhelmed by the responsibility of living up to the expectations. He had also recently realized that he was gay, and he was unable to share that with his family or people who would have been able to offer some kind of advice or welcome or support. So in the confluence of all these factors, he started taking drugs, and he started playing Dungeons and Dragons. And the private investigator, who had made such a big show about this being some kind of Dungeons and Dragons conspiracy, came to realize that Dungeons and Dragons was the only thing keeping this kid together. And that he was using it as a coping mechanism. This story does not have a happy end. James went into those steam tunnels. He did, not to play Dungeons and Dragons, but to commit suicide. When he failed is when he came back out and started skipping around town and going. About a year after James was reunited with his family, he did kill himself. And it was not until the private investigator, William Deere, wrote this book that the public became aware that this was not a Dungeons and Dragons based death, but the media had already begun spinning this. What all of these have in common, the James story, the book Mazes and Monsters, Dark Dungeons, is this fear of pretend, fear of imagination, this idea that if I let myself think what it would be like to be a different person, living in a different world, that I might fuse myself with this character and this identity, that I might lose track of what's real and what's fake. And so especially the more kind of religious side of this, people were wondering, maybe this game is more than just a game. Maybe it's some kind of spiritual event. And I want to say, it can be, if you want it to be. It can be something more than a game. It can be a spiritual event, but not the way they thought. This idea of imagination and pretend, I won't go into this too much, but there's a research institute called the Max Planck Institute of Evolutionary Anthropology. They spent 20 years doing studies on human children and chimpanzees and bonobos, and they were trying to figure out what makes humans different from our closest animal cousins. I'm paraphrasing quite a lot, but they basically came down to humans can role play. That is, a little tiny baby, you like to play peekaboo with it, right? The mother comes up and goes, peekaboo, and the baby squeals. And that goes on for some time. But at some point, as that kid's growing up, they're gonna do something. They're gonna come up to someone, and they're gonna go, peekaboo. And they're gonna expect the other person to squeal, to play the game right. Because what the human children are hardwired to learn that our closest cousins are not, is that our roles are separable from our identities. That is, it's not just mommy who can say peekaboo, and it's not just the baby that can squeal. We can separate those roles out and say, oh, I can take on the role of the peekabooer. You take on the role of the squealer. We can reciprocate and play. So at the very basis of our psychology is this ability to look at ourselves and look at other people as capable of being more than one thing, of being a different kind of person than the person we are right now, of telling a different story than the story we've told ourselves up until this point. I know a bunch of you are sitting around being like, but I still don't know what Dungeons and Dragons is. Really, really clearly, briefly, Dungeons and Dragons is kind of like Lord of the Rings if you were pretending to be the Lord of the Rings characters. Right? There's elves, there's dwarves, there's wizards, there's dark forces, there's little halflings, that's what Frodo's called. You can be any of those, there's orcs, you can be any of those things. Not only that, you can be any kind of person. You can be a strong warrior, you can be a clever wizard, you can be a sneaky rogue, you can be a devout cleric, you can be a schmoozy, charismatic bard. You can try on all these different ways, and you're going to need to because there's a quest. Now, the dungeon master does not control the game. All the dungeon master does is tell you what the quest is and what the story is like and give you a setting, and the players have to decide how they're going to do it. The spiritual lesson that I've learned from D&D, one is that deep down, everybody wants to be a hero. When you first play, especially if you're playing with kids, there is a brief window at which they might be interested in testing the boundaries of the world that they're in. So there might be some bad behavior. They might walk into a tavern and be like, I punched the tavern keeper in the nose. Because they're looking at you being like, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to punish me? And as a dungeon master, no, I'm not there to punish you. I go, ow, why would you do that? Once a little bit of this testing the boundaries of my world comes out, almost every person who plays the game doesn't want to go around being a jerk to people. They want to be a hero. They want to fight the dragon. They want to save the town. They want to find the treasure. They want to be somebody who makes a difference in the world around them. They want to protect the innocent. So anybody can be a hero. But if you want to actually be a hero, you have to recognize a couple things. And that is one, no single person is in charge. In fact, the Dungeon Master is not even in charge. That's what this dice is for. We're going to roll it in a minute. But the other thing you need to know is that it takes a whole party. Quests in Dungeons and Dragons are made so that everybody needs to play a role. If there's a dragon attacking the town and the only way to stop it is to get a magical artifact buried in a cavern, then you gotta have a strong dude who's gonna fight the skeletons in the cavern. You know there's skeletons in the cavern. Come on, you're gonna need a shifty little rogue who's gonna be able to disarm the traps and Indiana Jones steal the amulet. You're gonna need, a wizard who's gonna be able to smooth things over with a little movie magic. You're going to need all of these people on your side. And what we find is that groups of people who engage in collaborative, cooperative storytelling, which is what Dungeons and Dragons is, they learn that they can work with other people to make a difference. A few years ago, at the gaming convention that I participate in, that some of my family members are involved with, Tantrum Con, we had a little girl who showed up. It wasn't her choice to come. It was one of those situations where her parents were going through a divorce. She got stuck with her dad for the day. He had decided to come because he was the gamer in the family. And it was hard for her. There's hundreds of people at this convention. It wasn't really her hobby. She wasn't clicking. But she wandered into one of the rooms that was run by a great group that puts on Dungeons and Dragons and other games for all ages. So sometimes it's only kids, sometimes it's only adults, but there are mixed groups too. And she was able to find a seat at one of these tables. And she was able to play with the adults, and they were encouraging to her, and they helped her do it. And she started to come out of her shell. She showed up the next day. She was gonna go leave, stay with mom. She had no intentions, but instead, she came back the next day. She wanted to play more. And her dad was talking about it, and she was like, wow, it's been tough. It's been going through the family things, it's been bullying at school, it's been feeling like she didn't have a group, that she didn't have a place to fit in. And this group of strangers at this gaming convention just took an 11-year-old at their table and welcomed her in and made her feel like she was at home. That is what we can do with collaborative gaming like Dungeons and Dragons. We can be the story that we tell each other. We can tell each other a better story than the one we've heard so far. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlie. That was very enlightening and very interesting. Now, if you'll turn in your gray hymnals to hymn number 107, we'll sing "Now Sing We of the Brave of Old."
Rich as man.
As Jennifer extinguishes the chalice, I'll read another quote from Kate Welch. Letting go of inhibitions about playing pretend is difficult. Letting people in is perhaps even more so. People might think we're childish if we play pretend. They might make fun of us, laugh us out of our coffee shops. I do understand. But you see, I have witnessed so much magic from people shaking off those inhibitions to weave stories together for themselves. And doesn't that matter so much more?
Our benediction comes from Brennan Lee Mulligan, who is a professional dungeon master. Think about that. We can't promise that the future will never hurt us, but we can promise that if we're together, it will be worth it.
Get to keep these?
You get to keep those.
Oh, wow, thank you.